What's up everyone? Today I'll be making a video on the Albany V-STR based on the 2016 to 2019 Cadillac CTS-V. I also want to clarify that this is not based on the 2014 CTS, which does exist. This is based on the later updated performance model available as well. But as you can see, the customization here is very performance oriented. You do have your splitters with struts. I'm not really a big fan of how these look, but you can go for more of a drag or you know a track car model if you so wish. But I prefer to keep it subtle and classy, and this will help me a lot since this is a Cadillac, and that's basically the point of this brand. But here with the exhausts, you have a lot to work with. These look very good. You even have some carbon there. You have your twin and double exhausts, however you call those, or dual exhausts, should I say. A lot of these are very well made. You even have some side exhausts, which are a reference to the Cadillac CTS, the second and first gen, that Cadillac, used for races. There's also liveries inspired by that, which I'll get into it in a bit. But yeah, I mean, I prefer how the twin looks, the twin bore exhausts, so I'm gonna go with those. For the grill, you can remove you know, the emblem. It looks like one of those stock image cards if you remove it, so it's best to keep it on. For the hoods here, you really do have a lot to work with. I personally love how the smooth hood looks. It looks subtle. You have more of your secondary and your carbon options here. The vented hood, that one's close to the real CTS-V, but it bulges out a bit too much. So I'm gonna go for the smooth hood in a bit. The rest of this, I mean, these options are pretty nice. Aftermarket hoods. I love how the performance hood looks. You could probably make this look like a Hennessy model as well. But yeah, these bulge out too much. I'm not really a fan of that. These are more of drag-oriented, you know, options. You have your hood catches here. I believe these keep the hood closed, so it's best to not keep them on. You know, the liveries here, these are pretty good. As I said, some of them are based on Cadillac racing liveries. The two-tone is pretty sick. I love how that looks, but it would have worked if this was one of the bigger sedans, in my opinion. But here, as you can see, these are based off something. Again, from the 2004 to the 2010 first and second gen models. And some of these are made up by Rockstar, so they're unique. But as you can see, this one's quite special. It's clearly based off one of those racing models. Same goes for the Jet Sam. And these are very highly detailed. I mean, Rockstar really did their research, and they know about the community and cars a lot, and it shows. The alternative mirrors, those are strange. They look similar to the Rebla mirrors. They're just very big. Then you have your carbon version of that. But the stock ones are very similar to the real life car, so I'm just gonna leave them on. But for this, I'm gonna make it all black. I would have gone for like a red with a pearlescent, or there was a special blue color offered for this car as well in 2016. But it looks like a white in the game. It's very hard to show that blue with the lighting and all that stuff. You do have some stitching here and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna be looking in there, so I'm just gonna leave it black. For the roof, you can make it carbon as well. But I'm gonna change that secondary to black as well, just in case something is a different color on the car. For the skirts here, these are pretty good. I mean, whatever works for you. But as I said, I just like something a bit more subtle. If I was going for like a Hennessy style build or a track car build, I mean, these would be excellent. But yeah, I might as well just show you these options, you know. Here, for the splitters, let's see, for the spoilers, I mean, you have a lot to work with here as well. I just love the way these look. You even have like a spoiler, a ducktail spoiler up there for some reason. I feel like that looks very strange, but it probably has a purpose, you know. But you can make this look a lot like a GT car. Cadillac has not really used the. I could be wrong, but they haven't been using the newer gen sedans for competitions lately. They've only been using the those crazy hypercars. But here the suspension, it has some weird camber. I'm just not a fan of how that looks. It would have been better if it was a separate option, but I'm just gonna leave it off. I just hate how that looks. You do have a little antenna up here, which is pretty nice. Something missing from the car. It should be on the car. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the first option there. For the wheels, I'm gonna leave them on. The stock wheels, those look very close to the actual car. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check if I have the bulletproof tires on. And it looks like I don't, so I'm gonna install that. All that's left for me to do is just put on the window tint, or to show you just how dark it looks on this car. But once I'm done with that, I'm gonna get out of the garage real quick, and I'm gonna give you a closer look of the engine model and all that stuff. Detail and texture quality is acceptable. It does have a V8 engine model, which is the good news. The bad news is that it is a lower quality. The rest of the car is very well made. The interior model is reused with vehicles such as the Nero and others, but that's not really a big deal. It it works with the car. It does have the emblem in the center of the steering wheel, which is a nice touch. Not every car in the game has that for some reason. And the trunk here is quite spacious. You could probably fit two more occupants, right? One thing I want to talk about is how the bumper is, similar to the 2020 Mercedes S-Class. It would have been nicer if Rockstar was a bit more clever about it, but they did it for copyright reasons. Speed and handling is great. I just love the way this car performs. The handling is a bit questionable at times, but you really do have to be careful and time your turns and your braking. This car really should have been in the muscles class instead of the sports class. It does still work in the sports class, it does fit as well. But the way this car performs, since it's an American four-door sedan, it really, with a lot of power, it really should have been in the muscles class, in my opinion. But besides that, I had a lot of fun driving this car. I still do. It's really one of my go-to sedans whenever I just feel like driving one. But you really do need to be careful. As you can see, this is a really good example of timing your braking and your turning and all that. You really do need to be careful with the uneven terrain and concrete. But other than that, as you can see, it handles the turns flawlessly. I just can't love this car enough. But anyway, that's all I got for today. And as always, thanks for watching.